Their football games were moved up or back from Friday night because of Hurricane Delta, but now they're canceled this time because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, there are 3 people at 2 different Catholic schools who tested positive, and at this point it's not known if they got it at school or at home. But as Meg Ferris reports, the schools think it's best not to play these games.
Archbishop Shaw was the first to cancel its game. The Eagles were supposed to take on the Holy Cross Tigers Thursday night. 2 students involved in football, cheerleading, and band tested positive for the coronavirus, so the school made that and other changes.
I made the decision out of an overabundance of caution to move the school today back to virtual school, at least through the weekend, at least till Monday.
Father Louis Molinelli says both students feel well. All 400 families got an alert. Families of students who were in contact with the 2 have also been told. The school is strictly following the advice of a state-appointed epidemiologist.
If Dr. Lee says to us these students need to be tested, then we test them. If she were to make a determination that in this situation there just needs to be some separation for a bit, and as long as they don't show any symptoms, then we follow that advice as well.
Shortly afterward, St. Aug also canceled its weekend game against John Curtis. Citing privacy, the school doesn't want to say if the person who tested positive is a member of the Purple Knight football team, another student, or teacher.
Anyone that may have come into any direct contact with that individual has been notified as early as this morning so that they can take the proper steps, quarantine, and go get tested.
The John Curtis Patriots announced on social media they're actively seeking a replacement opponent for this weekend. As a 40-year educator, Shaw's director says it's difficult to watch students' education and the whole high school experience be interrupted.
It's so sad for me to have to cancel high school football or any activity, or not to have my kids here in school with me to see them. That's been the most painful part about this.
Meg Ferris, Eyewitness News.
And Shaw says it does not appear that there will be enough time in the season to reschedule the game. St. Aug says it doesn't know yet if its game will be played in the future.